How to flip a house with no money down. No money down flipping isn't magic, but it is possible. Do you want to flip a house without using a dime of your own money? Well, here's how it really works. In this video, I'll expose the truth behind no money down deals and how you can make them happen. By the end of this video, you're going to see real strategies on how you can flip a house with little or no money out of pocket. I love this topic because this is how I got my start back in the late 80s. There was a book called Nothing Down by a guy named Robert Allen, who now I'm actually friends with. And then there's Robert Allen wrote the book Nothing Down for the 90s. And I think he had Nothing Down for the 2000s. The Nothing Down theory has been around for a long time, long before the internet was even invented. Imagine that. So these theories have been around for a long time, and these processes and ways to buy houses with nothing down are not new. They are creative strategies to allow you to use other people's money and creative financing to get it done. So I'm going to dive into today to some of these old, tried and true methods that you may have not heard about. You may be like, I wasn't even born in the 80s yet. And that's okay, because these methods have worked for a long time. That's what you have to know, is this is not some new fancy concept that no one's ever heard of. Matter of fact, it's been around for a long time. The whole overall concept of nothing down means you still have to use money because the seller is going to have their hand out at the closing table looking for money. But the money does not have to come from you. So when we say buy a house with no money down, nothing down, it means nothing down out of your pocket. Don't be confused with the fact that there is money in the transaction, it's just not your money. You want to get used to this term, OPM, that's other people's money. You already do this. If you ever bought a house and have a mortgage, you've used other people's money, right? If you bought a car with a loan, if you used a credit card, if you took a loan out for anything, you have taken a chunk of money out from a lender, and then you pay the lender, and you've bought that thing you want to buy, it's in your possession, but then you pay somebody else back over time for that loan. It's no different in real estate investing. As a matter of fact, it's better in real estate investing because a lot more people are lined up to give you money for a house flip or an investment because it's a secure, hard asset they're going to loan on that's also protected by a mortgage and also protected by insurance. Imagine that you found a hot stock tip and you went to someone in your family and said, hey, can I borrow $100,000? Because I got this hot stock tip that if I buy this, it's going to go through the roof. I'll pay you back as soon as it goes up. No one's going to loan you money on that. Even if you went to borrow money for a car from somebody and say, can I borrow money from a car? Usually they're going to go, I don't want to get involved with that. Don't want to loan money there. But if you can say to someone that you know, love, and care about, hey, I have this deal, and actually I want to pay you 12% on your money to be my private money lender for this deal, there's a good chance they're going to say 12%. Let me hear what you have to say. See, it's a different type of relationship, but you use other people's money to buy these investments. It's the only investment out there where you could actually make money and grow your wealth using other people's money. So get good at it, and here we go. You can do this with hard money lenders. They're willing to loan you a significant portion of the purchase price, up to 80%, and usually up to 100% of the renovation costs on a property as well. Now, for that extra 20% that you don't have, you can use a private lender like I just talked about, and have somebody that you know set up a loan to loan you that little bit of money. Better yet, you could loan it to yourself by using a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. Or if you have credit cards with cash advance, maybe you have a 0% credit card you could use. Maybe you could borrow against your 401k. You know, you could borrow up to $50,000 against your 401k. Maybe you could borrow against an IRA, borrow against your stock. Maybe you could borrow against a whole life policy that has a cash value. There's so many ways that you can get access to money. I always say that the golden rule is he who has the gold makes the rules. And I believe that in real estate investing, it's he who has access to the most money is the one who wins. It's not about who has the most money, who has the access to the most money. So how else can you get access to money? You can partner with other investors. Maybe you don't want to borrow money. Maybe you say, look, you have money, I have the time and the know-how, let's partner up on this. I have a deal I found, and if you can just give me the money for it and I'll do all the work, we'll split the profit 50-50. You can negotiate that term however you want to do because it's up to you. There's no regulations on how you split that profit. So you can work it out with that person. That's one way to do it. You could do what's called a joint venture with a seller. You can say to the seller, look, I'm happy to give you the $200,000 you want for that home, but here's what I want to do. I want to come in with my money and I want to fix up the repairs that are needed. Then I'm going to handle everything and sell the house. And as soon as I sell it, I'm going to give you that $200,000. Now you say, Glenn, but what if I don't have the money? Again, use OPM, use a home equity, use a private lender, use whatever you have to, use your credit cards to fund that renovation. You didn't have to buy the house. The $200,000, you let the seller hang on to that. You can partner with a seller. It's like getting a 0% loan. You've got to be clever. That's what Nothing Down is all about. Coming up with creative solutions to get through complex real estate deals. So as long as we're on the OPM or other people's money, let's talk about how much you should borrow. One of the biggest mistakes I see new investors make is they don't borrow enough. And they get stuck with bad cash flow problems, and sometimes they have to throw up their hands and walk away in the middle of their flip because they don't have enough cash to finish. You thought you borrowed enough. You borrowed enough to buy the house. You had that covered. You even covered the gap funding because maybe the hard money lender gave you 80% and you borrowed the 20%. Great. You had that all taken care of. And the renovation costs were covered too. But you forgot about the holding costs. And you forgot that you have to make interest payments every month to the lender. And you forgot that there's maintenance costs and the taxes might come due. And there's just regular expenses that happen during a renovation that goes over budget that you weren't prepared for. When those things happen, if you don't have cash, you're in a bad way. So we train not only to borrow 100% of your project, but to borrow 110% of your project when you can. You can only do this with private lenders because private lenders aren't nearly as strict as a hard money lender or other type of professional lending organizations. So if you were to borrow 110%, now you have extra cash to cover you during the tough times. No one tells you this, but I'm telling you this. It will make your life so much easier. You're going to borrow a little bit into your profit, and you're going to pay a little more interest on that extra $10,000. But the peace of mind that you get by having enough cash to finish your deal and not being stuck day to day with the heavy grind and the heavy lifting of all the bills to pay, you're going to feel that much better and be able to be that much clearer. And the clearer you are, the better you run your job, the more profits you make, and so on and so on. Great deals bring money always. Every time somebody says to me, Glenn, I'm worried about finding money for my deal. I say, do you have a deal? No. I said, then don't worry about the money. Go find the money first. There's something magical that happens about putting a deal under contract and buying it for so much below retail or even wholesale value. We make our money in real estate when we buy houses, not when we sell them. We realize the money when we sell. We cash the check. We make our money when we buy, because the deeper we buy, the more money we're going to make. The deeper we buy, the more secure other investors feel loaning money to us. Even hard money lenders will be a lot less concerned about your credit if in fact you buy the house cheap enough so it's a great killer deal for them. Because even if you go south and don't finish the project, there's enough equity in that deal, they could sell the house and get their money back. They feel much more secure in that deal. So get really good at buying houses cheap. When you buy houses cheap, the money always follows. And there's something magical about you having the pressure to go out and find money for that deal. Amber's in my story is this for private money. We funded the first 2 deals with a conventional loan back in 2007 because they were available. If you remember 2008, it's when all the financial markets were crashing and even banks were shutting down, and they shut down any lender programs to anybody wanting to flip a house. Hard money lenders shut down, nobody was loaning money. I had 2 houses under contract, one to make a $50,000 profit, one to make around a $70,000 profit. They were under contract, I hadn't closed yet. And I was like, uh-oh, I don't have the money, and they just shut down the only way I knew how to get money. So I made a system that you can learn about on our channel. If you haven't looked at our channel, please look at our channel about private money lenders. And I found a system to go out and ask people if they wanted to be a partner with me on the deal. And we found a good friend of ours who had a home equity line of credit, and I showed her how to use that to fund our deals. And that started my private lender journey, and I've raised over $10 million in private lender funds. I'm not saying to brag, I'm saying that when you have a deal under contract that you don't want to lose, I didn't want to lose a $50,000 profit deal or a $70,000 profit deal, so I got my butt busy and went out there and I found a lender. Because there's something magic about saying, hey, I'd like you to be my partner in this deal. Here it is. Here's the numbers, here's the math, here's how much I'm going to make, here's how much you're going to make. And there's something magic about that rather than just saying, hey, you want to loan me some money? Right? So go out there and find a great deal, because a great deal always brings the money that you're looking for. And the bottom line is, when you get really good at no money down deals and structuring no money down deals and using private lenders so you don't have to use any of your own money, it's always no money down, the possibilities for you are endless. You are never again stopped because you don't have the funds to invest. So get really great at creating nothing down strategies. They were big in the 80s. They're even bigger today. Flipping with no money down only works if you're targeting the right kind of property. Go watch my next training video, The Crucial Step New Investors Always Miss, where I'm going to help you lock in your buy box so strong that investors will be banging down your door to give you money. Check it out. The link is right here in the description below.